Started. We've got a couple of bills to take up this morning. The first bill is Senate Bill number 2062, and Senator Johnson is the author of this bill, and I'm going to ask him to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill simply sets up a task force for a review of how AI can be implemented into K-12 education. The idea is that we have across our state a diverse take on AI. Some people think it's great and want to use it. Some people are afraid of it. It's here. It's going to be here. Kids are already using it. And we want to find ways that we can implement it in K-12 education in a positive way to help students not only learn about AI, but be able to use it productively, not using it for plagiarism, not using it for simply writing a report or getting bad information, but how they can trust the information they get and properly use it. And that's the idea of the bill. It simply sets up a task force that would make recommendations. There's a list of the people who would be on that task force. We have a committee sub because there was some language that included higher ed, and in working with higher ed, we took that language out to make sure it is focused on strictly K-12 education. And that's an explanation of the bill.
Thank you, Senator. I appreciate it. I'd like to echo a moment what you're saying is artificial intelligence, as we know, is something that's here and it's not going away. And I think there are many more positives to be garnished than negatives if we embrace it and do it the right way. You back up to 1970, we had this thing called the calculator that came along. It replaced the slide rule, but we still have people using their cognitive skills. It's just another tool that's there, as was the PC. So I think it's great to have this. And I think this committee, as time goes by in the future years, will be dealing with artificial intelligence in many different respects and how we create policy around that. So thank you for bringing this to us, Senator. With that being said, are there any questions from the committee? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Johnson, I'm looking at section 3. So for the governor's appointees, it looks like it'll be 4 people from like 4 different places. But from the lieutenant governor's appointees, it looks like if you look at 2 and 3 and 4, it seems like they could end up being from like the same school district.
Potentially. Hopefully that would not be the case.
Would you be opposing any language that would make it have to be from separate school districts so we could get a wide variety of people on the task force?
I certainly wouldn't oppose any amendment that makes the bill better. I would, if they were all 3 from the same school district and they should be on there, I would hate to limit that. But at the same time, I understand your point. Very open to whatever the committee decides.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Would we want to entertain a motion of an amendment at this time or do it on the floor?
I'd wait to think about it some more on how.
Okay. Well, great. Any other questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Time sufficient to pass committee sub.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Bill will be reported out. The next bill is Senate Bill 2698. It establishes a cybersecurity review board. This is something that's been in the works for, I don't know, 6 to 9 months. There have been people that have been meeting and already doing some of this, and we went back and forth whether we felt we needed to codify this or not. We think it's in the best interest that we do. I kind of want to go through this in a little bit of detail, and then I'll be glad to entertain any questions. The Cyber Review Board, the purpose of this is kind of standing up this board so that all our state assets can kind of come alongside each other as we have things going on. If we have a cyber attack, we've got people that kind of work in consortium, and we've got a chain of command of how we would do that, as well as trying to provide the educational resources, administration of grants that we have that are available. From an agency perspective, ITS does this, and they do a very good job at it, in my opinion. But when you go out into MDE, you go out into the counties and the cities and even the private sector, we don't really have statutes that do this. So we're trying to create a board where this is available on a volunteer basis from the aforementioned areas at the local area. The section number 1 is just the name, the Cyber Security Review Board. Section 2 will have 7 permanent voting members on this. They will be Homeland Security will be the chairman of this or their designee. The ITS director will be the vice chairman of this. DPS commissioner or designee will be on the board, the MEMA executive director, and again, all these will be them or their designee will be on the board. The adjunct general of the National Guard, the superintendent of education, and the attorney general. These will be the permanent members. There again, we felt this was a good, this is based on the Wireless Commission. Their board was set up very similar to this, and that organization has been running very well. We wanted a board that was agile, so if we've got to react, we can do it quickly. Ex officio members are their permanent members that are on there in section 3, MML. The president of that board, their designee would be on it, the executive director of the Supervisors Association, the chair of the Technology Senate, of the Senate, chair of Technology in the Senate, and chair of Technology in the House would be in it. And the board will have the ability to add additional members as necessary, as they think they can bring in subject matter experts that help them carry out the mission of the board. Section 4 just kind of describes that the first year they're going to have a meeting within 45 days, and then they're having monthly meetings after that. After the first year, they can go to quarterly meetings if they so choose to. Section 5, there will be an annual report that will be drafted by December 15th. It will go to the governor, lieutenant governor, speaker, and the chairs of the technology committees in both houses. Section 6 establishes a cybersecurity review board fund that DPS would be in charge of. This is for funds that may be available or deposited into for this this board. We are not planning on asking for any funding for this board. We don't feel that that's necessary at this time. So this is a net zero to establish this board. These people are already part of different agencies throughout the state, and they've been meeting. They've met at the CAV Center in Canton and different places. So we feel that funding is not necessary at this time. Effective date would be July 1. That's a explanation of what we're trying to do. Are there any questions? If there are not any questions, I would entertain a motion. Committee sub. All in favor? Any opposed? That bill will be reported out. I will entertain another motion. Thank you very much. Have a great day.